I'm joined now in the studio by the national coordinator of the Obedient Movement and former spokesperson for Peter Obi's 2023 presidential campaign, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me, Charles.
We're very grateful to you.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with this newly revealed vision. Peter Obi says his presidency will begin by uniting Nigeria. I mean, obviously it sounds very admirable, but it's also an enormous claim. In concrete terms, what would he do that Nigerians would actually feel as evidence that the country is becoming more united?
Not only would he unite the country, he will energize the Nigerian youth. The Nigerian youth have already been divided along the lines of the elites and the future. And that is why they talk very closely to his policies and his belief. You ask me one concrete thing, agriculture. Every time His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi speaks, he speaks about agriculture. He has given you a statistics of what Niger State, which is almost equal to Nigerland as well, what it can produce, and 3 times what income we are making.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about the unity first.
When you talk about,
get to that,
you mentioned one, and I'm telling you areas in which especially the northern part will benefit from. Now, when you talk about unity, 56 years ago precisely, that was the last time we had this civil war. Okay, and the civil war has created a lot of division, distrust between the north and the south. And the last time we had a president from the southern extraction was 60 years ago, and with Nnamdi Azikiwe and Aguiyi Ironsi and the lot of. These are people who also are Nigerians, but we've never thought of whatever the pain or pang that they are feeling too. And by bringing in somebody from their extraction and believing in him, it gives them hope and trust. And at the end of it all, unite the country. His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi does not even tout tribal line. He touts unity based on competence and capacity, which he has. And I want to say this clearly. Time immemorial, where Nigeria has suffered this particular issue of divide and rule between the north and the south, especially in the case of MKO Abiola. Remember when we lost him to tragic situation and all? The North also came in and sacrificed their interests and bringing in President Olusegun Obasanjo. So this is another time to bring in a Peter Obi to unite the country. This is the sacrifice that the North has always been doing. So, and this is the best time to also exemplify it and make it happen. In fact, to tell you the truth, one of the basic reasons for me joining this particular campaign, even long before His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi became a presidential candidate in any of the party, I have been championing this particular cause. And I give a fact. Go and check my statement at the Women's Center in Oka. I spoke, Senator Ben Obi was there, and the former president of Wanize was there, and Alhaji Balarabe Musa, may his soul rest in perfect peace, supported this particular idea. He was our leader. And what we are thinking is that the country first, not any individual, not any group. So we were actually amplifying this cause to say, okay, we need a country that is united. Not when you have to travel to the north, you have to be scared of whether you have to wear a jalabia or not. No, we're talking about when you go, where in the Ashagu, your own native land, dress, so that people in the north can see it and admire it and say, yes, I like this. Can I also get a copy of it? The same thing too from the northern part coming to the south. But not everybody is scared. Everybody is scared because the deficit of trust. And because of that, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi did something that is very phenomenal. What did he do? He made sure he picked Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso as his deputy. And I thank God, and which I appreciate, that the Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso also agreed to serve as a vice. That is the kind of sacrifice we are looking for. And it has already been exemplified. So because you want the northern people to have trust, because if you like, whether you like it or not, Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso has been a crusader in defending the interests of the northern part. So if any northerner want to have confidence in this particular joint ticket, he must have trust in Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And that is unity.
Well, I mean, Peter Obi says these things. I mean, you made a very interesting point about Olusegun Obasanjo. When Obasanjo came in, Obasanjo had many, many years of, I mean, he'd been a military head of state. He was a big democracy advocate because he handed over to civilians. He'd been talking consistently without running for office or having any presidential ambition and being seen as somebody who, was making promises on the base. He just was that kind of person. And so he had been that way for so long that he was able to engender trust and was a unifying figure in the sense that here we were coming off military rule, but he was a former military person himself. But here we were heading towards democracy, and he was a military person who handed over to civilians. So in that sense, he represented so much. He personified so much. So he really didn't have to do that much. And of course, when he became president, I mean, he exemplified that in the way he appointed the cabinet and reflected this broad church across Nigeria. People will ask questions, though, about how Peter Obi intends to do this, because Peter Obi has always been more of a regional character than a national one. I mean, he was a a state governor and all the rest of it. How exactly does he intend to build trust among regions and communities that increasingly, as you correctly pointed out, distrust one another?
Because, like, for example, he's a kind of a practical person. I just gave you a practical example in order to get the trust of the North in particular. And he did that. But not only that, because he also knows that Nigerian Musa Kwankwaso runs a populist agenda, meaning that he is interested in education, technical work of training the children, transforming their lives from poverty to prosperity and all of that. So their ideology meets together. So in the case of his practical situation as what he has done, because this when you are touting the idea of unity, it's not something that you say. You must have practicalized it one way or the other. Today, the ADC to His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi is alive. He's a man from Kano State. He was his ADC. So when you're looking for trust, the first person that you trust is the man behind you with a gun. And he's a lieutenant. And he's still living alive. So you see, practically he has exemplified. In terms of trust, I am one of his aides. I'm from North, I'm from Kano State. I speak on his behalf. Sometimes even if I speak, he doesn't query me. You understand what I'm saying? So that is another enormous trust. One of the biggest organizations in Nigeria today, you can say, is the Obedient Movement. And I am heading it, or I'm coordinating it where he is the leader. That is enormous trust. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. There's Mala Ibrahim, at the point in time, there's a lot of us who are.
But a lot of people would argue that that's not necessary. I mean, if you go to the APC, if you go to Atiku Abubakar's camp, I mean, they've all got people from different ethnicities who are close to them. I mean, Atiku's spokesman, Paul Ibe, is from the southeast.
Yes,
I mean, you've got people from, different persuasions. Atiku, the President Tinubu has people from different parts of the country and so on. Exactly. So that's not necessarily an example of the fact that this is how you're going to kind of unite the country.
One of the major problems that we have in this country is trust. If you can't trust your aide, you can't trust the people that work with you, then you have a problem. That's true. We can argue that. Right. So, but then the fact is that when you say practical example, I just gave you one. And I also said what he extended as regard to what he intends to do by working together with Engineer Musa Kwankwaso. The first thing that he is interested in is agriculture. I've mentioned it. And he's also talking about technical work that is going to transform the children. And he also talked about education, pulling people from about 20 million out of school children back into the educational line. Yeah. Apart from that,
that's what every government says.
But then you have to give an opportunity for somebody to practicalize what he has done over in his own state. Well, he has done it in his state.
Well, let me ask you this, just on that same theme of national reconciliation. Would a Peter Obi administration be prepared to devolve more powers to the states, restructure aspects of the federation, pursue constitutional reforms as part of this national reconciliation?
To follow up what he said in the recent very soon time, you'll be seeing him unleashing his policies. He's not talking about Akara and Agbodo. No. He's talking about technically turning around the fortune of Nigerians. That when you go to school, you deserve to earn a living based on what you have learned. If it's technically you have learned that, not for you to reduce somebody who has gone to school to go to four corners of the university and all, you turn him to a street beggar. Even if you are going to sell Akara or sell Agbado, it must be done in a unified manner that can bring in more money into the country. But not in this conventional way. So we must talk, and this person that we're talking about has been able to generate a lot of interest of the Nigerian youth. They believe in him, strongly so. Even those who do not believe in him in the northern part, some of them, has already started having the feeling that, look, this man has been able to account for every kobo that he has led a state. This man has been able to pay up the salaries and wages and even gratuity of pensions of workers that work under him. This man has been able to connect with the people, ensuring that their industries and all are working. This man has been able to talk about the educational system in his state, transforming his children of that particular state from 26th position to number 1. This same person has been able to secure the life and properties of his people. Who wouldn't want that person as a president?
Well, Peter Obi wants to expand technical and vocational education. I mean, that's part of what you were saying in that statement that was released along the German model.
Yes.
Germany's apprenticeship system is supported by a highly industrialized economy. Nigeria doesn't yet have that industrial.
That is why he's been talking about
Nigeria doesn't have that industrial base. What comes first, the skilled workers or the industries that will employ them?
Do you want even an industry exam when you don't have the workers? The workers first, of course. You must train them before you can even have the industry. Because if you don't have a workforce, you may be importing workforce from another country, and that will not develop your economy. So the first thing is that's why majority of us go to school, don't we? We want to learn exactly how we are going to turn around A, B, C, D. So when you say technical school, it's very fundamental. When you teach them how to be technically indulged, it helps to build the country, the kind of production company that will go in line with what they have studied. But when you have a volume of industry and then you have no workers, what do you expect? A total collapse of the production.
So he argues that Nigeria must move from consumption to production. I mean, it's a popular phrase.
That's
now,
right.
And it's become a sort of almost a cliche. But if he became president, what would be the first economic decision that would begin to translate that into action?
Cut waste. Unnecessary spending, accounting to the people. When you say you are going to do ABC, you do ABC. That's what we don't have in our system. Most of our leaders don't even account for what is under their coffers. And when you can account and say, I apply ABC, I even pity those who work with Mr. Peter Obi as president. Because every day and night they'll be engaged in working. I'm telling you, there's no rest for them. Because he has a 4-year tenure that he said he's going to do. And you can believe that he's going to turn around the whole country into a kind of a production country.
Yeah, but one recurring criticism of opposition parties in this country is that they come up with these very attractive visions. They produce these attractive, but not detailed implementation plans. When will Nigerians see the numbers, the costings, the timelines, the measurable targets, the sources of funding?
This usually say there's a taste in the pudding. Is that how they say it, or something like that?
The taste of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes, exactly. So it's Mr. Peter Obi as president of the Federal Republic and Nigeria.
Yeah, but we need to know how he's going to do it before we
like I said,
I've
also told you, he said he was going to start unleashing the one after the other. That was his promise. Even in the statement, he says so. So he will give you an account of how he intends to do so. But we, as a people, we have seen the past. What he has been able to do. If I tell you a particular story, you'll be wondering how that gets in. There was a discussion that happened between him and while he was member of the PDP and government, and His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was the vice president. There was a project. This particular project was to cost, as presented, 30 billion. I'm just using an example of figures. 30 billion naira. When he was asked, he said, Mr. Peter, he just laughed and said, that thing wouldn't cost us more than 3 billion naira. He said, is he sure? And all the other people were seated around. They were like, how is this man going to stop us from eating our money from here? You understand? The normal Nigerian way. And he said it can be done in 3 billion naira.
Yeah.
And then before
I have an idea of what you're talking about.
So
with this lot.
Yeah. So immediately he was okay. Excellency asked him, Peter, can you do it? He said, yes, sir. And the next morning, he made a position of extra change that can be beneficiary to anyone that is legally entitled to it, not illegal.
Well, that's something that is good
so
practically,
practically, they know the kind of quality of a person that he is. He's the person that can generate funds, he's the person that can execute funds, and he also can account for funds.
Right.
And those are the three qualities that is lacking in our governance as of today.
Nevertheless, Peter Obi isn't campaigning in a vacuum. He faces an incumbent president with all the advantages of office, as well as another formidable contender. You just mentioned Atiku Abubakar. Is Mr. Obi better positioned to win in 2027 than he was in 2023?
Far, far better.
How
because
so?
A lot of decay already in the system. And I want to say this. I'm using this as an opportunity. We put up a Peter Obi to debate with any candidate. Let them be sure that they are there.
No, I'm not talking about the debate.
No. Let me ask you.
What has Peter Obi done since 2023 to strengthen his political machinery rather than simply repeating the arguments about the last election?
Keeping the government in power on their toes continuously. There was one single presidential candidate that have been able to do that from day one after the election. It was only His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. And I remain to be challenged by anybody.
I'm talking about his organization.
Organization, of course, continuously we keep on improving. Here I am. We are organizing. We are mobilizing. We put up our structures into obedient movement. He's gotten the political party. The political party is now moving. His name has already been uploaded as of yesterday.
Okay, talking about a political party, we've got about a minute and a half, and I apologize for that. But, time gallops ahead. Your party is currently challenging the Federal High Court decision that set aside the judgment compelling INEC to register the NDC. How concerned are you that this legal uncertainty could affect Peter Obi's plans?
I'm even thinking my own fear is actually for the federal government. Because the moment they trample upon that particular angle, there's a lot of problem on the ground. The Nigerian youth will resist it.
No, but we're talking about a court decision. I mean...
Court, we all know where the court are tending towards. Because how can you vomit and then you swallow your vomiting? It's not correct.
So you're saying that Peter Obi would take an extra legal position if the court decision doesn't suit his...
The court at the moment now, Charles, at the moment now, it is not about the court decision. It's about the Nigerian people. They are tired. Even we that are championing their cause, we cannot escape their anger. Even we. I'm telling you this. You can do your statistics around. Even Mr. Peter Obi cannot escape their anger. Because they are not angry only with the government, they are angry totally with the system. Sometimes, even myself, as I'm sitting here, I'm, of course, being challenged to give account of everything that I do. They need a change, and they are tired of the system. The system has disappointed them to a point of stupor that they don't even believe in anybody anymore. They just want to see Nigeria that grows. You can't imagine, we, Nigerians, who have helped certain countries to grow, now we are being deported out of those particular countries. It's shameful. They are not in any mood for any child's play. Let me tell you, they are not. It's not about me. It's not about His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. It's not. They are already on their own. They are extremely angry. The system has not treated them well. It has not taken care of their education. It has not taken care of their security. It has not taken care of their welfare. They are not even thinking that they are secured as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So where do you want them to go to?
On that note, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.